Welcome in, come meet my Bristol bro. Anything from this to that, my Bristol bro. So nice to introduce my Bristol bro. Anyone from him to her, my Bristol bro. Work with these hands, you see this hard form. Say with your chest, my pen is hardcore. Even at my desk, feel like a star-lord. And it shows how much we give it all for. Now it's time to give them all an encore. Till it's back to the chalkboard. Welcome in, come meet my Bristol bro. Anything from this to that, my Bristol bro. So nice to introduce my Bristol bro. Anyone from him to her, my Bristol bro.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Bristol Bros. This is our pre-holiday edition. I got to bring my buddy Sam McClurgan here. What's up, brother?
How we rocking?
We're rocking along. We got our little holiday icon there down at the bottom. StreamYard gave us some free stuff before the holidays, so we are utilizing it. Man, I'm about to build an ark over here in Washington State. We have had crazy flooding, and then I know you need a snowplow over there, man. We've been getting all the rain. You've been getting all the frozen version of rain, dude. How are you surviving?
Barely. It's cold. It was like one of the days over the weekend. It was -12 outside.
Oh my goodness. That's crazy. And did it snow quite a bit more like they were forecasting?
Yes, and it's supposed to snow again. We have like at least a foot of snow outside on the ground right now.
So you might actually be getting a white Christmas then. That's probably common in there though, huh?
It is, yes. It ranges from like year to year, to be honest with you. Like sometimes we get stupid amounts of snow, and sometimes it's very seldom.
Yeah.
But this year definitely it's been a lot so far. So I'm really not looking forward to the next two to 3 months of shoveling my driveway still.
See, I had a feeling even though I love the snow, I would grow to despise it under those conditions. You probably get used to it real quick and get over it. We got some people.
Yeah, I
in
gotta
the
invest
chat.
in a snowblower. That's really my biggest recommendation.
Yeah. We got Tristan in the chat says, just wanted to say I'm a new fan of the Bristol Bros channel and absolutely thrilled to see our guys James and Sam hosting the man, the myth, the legend, Steve Rude, the dude. And then we got somebody in the chat that thinks you're a Jason Kelsey doppelganger with the beard and everything. That's awesome. Yeah. Give it 5 minutes to change. Yeah, this weather has been nuts. It's definitely been a little different here. Usually we're a little bit colder, but it's like in the 50s and just raining. And like I told you, that levee by my business broke, and the whole area, the governor was like, get out of there, evacuation notice, do not go to the area. So yeah, it was really interesting, but thankfully they got that repaired and the business is back open today. So I'm going to go out there tomorrow and assess and see how much stuff is floating.
Good luck.
Yeah. So why don't you give everybody in the chat a rundown? We got a large amount of people in the chat right now watching, both over on X and on YouTube. So give everybody the breakdown of what we're going to be doing tonight.
Sure. So first things first, my Kickstarter comic is pretty much out in the wild now at this point. I dropped off a bunch of copies over at the local comic shop, so they have a bunch there. I have them up for pre-order from my website. If you did pre-order them from me already, or you backed my Kickstarter, those books are going to be going out this weekend, and hopefully I have everything fulfilled by the end of the weekend. I'm still waiting on a couple people to give me addresses to get them their books, but about
Nice.
85 to 90% of the people I have completely packed, labeled. I just got to drop them off at some point this weekend, and that's done.
And people can head down
So
here. They
keeping
can
an
go to
eye out.
MrSamMcClurg.com and they can pre-order. And if they missed a Kickstarter, they can still grab it, right?
Yes, I have all of the issues in terms of the variant covers all on there available. They will all come signed, and then as well, I do have leftover like Kickstarter goodies. So if you do order any of those White Line Deadline issues from my website, I'll
Right.
pitch in some of those extras because I do have them. Um, Besides that, we do have Steve Root, of course, on the show tonight. For
Yeah.
those of you that don't know, I do work for Steve. I'm kind of like a assistant helper sort of guy. Help him out with social medias and whatever else we do in the background to kind of help Steve and his operation running as smoothly as humanly possible. Um, Pretty much, Janelle shoots the adrenaline in everybody's arms on the team and makes sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. So,
Yeah.
shout
She
out
runs
to
that ship.
Janelle,
Yeah.
Steve's wife, running the
She's
tight ship
awesome.
for sure.
Yeah.
And then as well, make sure that everybody that's out there, puts Janelle's mom and and their best wishes and whatnot. She's having some health complications, so everybody's sending their best wishes, and Steve was still able to come on today, regardless of all the personal family stuff that was going on. So again, big shout out to Steve and Janelle for making
for
this
sure.
happen. Yeah, I have a bunch of books pulled, so we're going to bring Steve on to kind of shoot the shit a little bit, kind of talk to him, and do a little bit of an interview. And the same thing as previous episodes, we're going to flip the camera down, kind of have Steve commentate on some of the comics that he's worked on, and just do a little bit of an interview and see what happens. Do our little normal about hour and a half, and then we'll call it. And next week we're not going to end up doing another show. We kind of already decided that, so we're going to end up
Yeah, the
taking a break.
holidays.
James is going on
Holidays are
vacation.
crazy. Holidays are
Yeah.
crazy for both of us. Yeah, so we decided that we gotta, give a little reprieve. A lot of our guests that we were gonna have on were all traveling and everything. So, and I know I got my staycation, and you got some holiday stuff to do. So I think we'll be a little smarter, giving ourselves a little reprieve next week, but we'll be hitting it the week after that.
Yes, sir. Yep, we got tons of guests lined up, and that was one of the other reasons why we ended up moving the stream and not doing one next week, is because everybody that we pretty much reached out to hasn't been available. But yes, we got Jim Rugg in the shoot. We have who else? We got Sean Crystal in the shoot. We got Jim Mahfood in the shoot. So
Nick
a bunch of people lined
eventually
up.
Nick
Yeah.
Patera will be on. West Coast Dave will be on. Just a matter of getting into that new year and letting everybody, kind of come off that holiday grind, and we'll get them in here one at a time. Sure is shooting, right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, I see Steve now. It looks like Janelle's got him. He's at the board. I can see him. He is looking in his zone right now at the art board, where the man is meant to be, the place that the dude resides, at the drawing board. Sam, do we want to bring Steve on? Like, do we want to
Sure,
keep
go for it.
people waiting, or I want to bring him on, man? Everybody in the chat, let's welcome the dude.
Sam and James, hi. Thanks for having me on.
Good to see you, Steve. You're looking good there at your board, man. How you doing today?
Well, the last 2 days have been tough, but at the moment I'm doing great. And I do
Excellent.
I take it minute by minute.
Yes, sir. Any artistic challenges been presenting themselves? I know the last time I had the opportunity to talk to you, you were working out some things with the story for the next Nexus project and everything. Did you get that one solved, and you're on to solving, getting over that next hurdle?
Well, if you surmount one hurdle, there's another one forthcoming. And life is different than the way it used to be, when the industry was much stronger. And I'm talking about the 80s and 90s. And I've seen the industry kind of commit, to me, it's committed suicide in a lot of ways. It's not healthy. They're hiring people for rates so low that none of us could live off them. Um, the way we used to. I used to get $3,000 for a cover from DC. Now they
Wow.
can't even afford a $1,500 thing. So the idea that somebody would come along in any business and find ways um, to resurrect it in a really healthy way has never happened in my mind. So we're missing that genius that has never seemed to appear and taken the industry and made it healthy like it once was.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way I see it.
I tend to agree with you. Definitely the way things are trending right now, things are looking a little abysmal for sure. Sam, you work for the man. You work for the dude.
I sure do. Yeah. So,
Or you work for
yeah,
Janelle. You work for
yeah,
Janelle.
yeah. Janelle's the real boss. She's the one bossing everybody, and she does great work. I love Janelle. I cannot say enough great things about her.
Yeah, she's
For
literally
sure.
one of a kind, and I mean that literally. Probably you could comb the entire globe and not find anyone close. Well, maybe close to her, but not surmounting her at all.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she does a great job keeping everything organized with everyone, and is super encouraging to everybody on the team. And we always get, behind the scenes stuff of you working at the drawing board and all sorts of goodies. And I eat up every minute of it.
Well, that's good. It's there's a simple equation with business and their interaction we have with the people that support us, and everyone's always trying to find a way to strengthen that interaction so that more income comes in and frees us from things that prohibit us from doing now from lack of funds. So I don't work for any of the big companies anymore. I've done that, and that's a thing of the past. It's not prudent for me to go back and go back in time and pretend things are the way they are, because they're not. And I've exhausted everything that I ever wanted to do with those companies anyway. They're not going to change, or they're not going to get better. They're going to stay the way they are or get worse. In the meantime, I encourage everyone to do what seems to be logical at this time in the world, which is self-publish. By doing that, you're freeing yourself from the constraints that I guess that are still there when it comes to working for big companies. Lawyers run a lot of the decision making that I don't agree with. So if you can find a way to self-publish in a world that allows that these days, it's going to free you up and give you the opportunity to really dig into what you're about, and go forward with that, and just so it nourishes your soul and gets you out there in a way that never used to be possible, which is to be free of the big companies and what they're always needing you for.
Yeah. Yeah, this is something that I think is very important, and we live in a time where we have the means to do that. It just, you have to have the gumption, and you have to. Well, I know I watch Sam with everything he's doing, and he's working his butt off. But man, I think you're pretty fulfilled, aren't you, Sam?
I am, and that's definitely because I've heard Steve in the past even talk about that, if guys like Jack Kirby had the ability to do self-publishing, back in the 50s and 60s, the things that had happened to him in the business sense never would have happened to begin with. So I use those types of lessons for things to look at and learn from, and be like, I don't want to fall in that same trap that Kirby fell into and all those other creators. And it's like, I want to be in the lane that Steve's in, and own my property and not let somebody else have it, and be in in charge of my own destiny.
Yeah,
Well, that pretty much
definitely.
spells it out, guys. So that's really the essence of what the idea of being your own person and controlling everything as you wish it to be based on your personal taste and what you're most driven to do. Nobody gets into comics without being driven to do something that they think is important. They love the medium. We all love it. Anyone who's ever gotten out of the medium, say back in the 70s, they've always come back. And there's a reason for that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the love of the game for sure. Because it sure as hell ain't the money nowadays. Mr. Sam, I know you got a big stack of Steve's work that we're gonna drool over tonight. You have an assortment. Are you gonna get set up on your other stations so we can take a look at that? Or are we gonna keep the people waiting a little longer? How are you wanting to do that? You got some stuff you want to ask Steve before we do that?
Well, I figured that the work itself will kind of dredge up some conversation, and then as well, I have all of the recent Kickstarter books that that we can show off as well to kind of help promote some of the stuff on his site and sell some Steve Rude goodness.
Yeah, there we go. For sure. That sounds like a good plan to me, man. You want me to, can I talk to the dude while you get your station set up and I'll throw you backstage?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, buddy. So Steve, talking about the industry, do you think there's any hope? Do you think there's someone that can come in and shake things up and revive it?
We lost volume here.
Oh, you can't hear me now?
Gino.
Uh-oh.
Can't hear.
All right, we'll wait a moment. Steve can't
Gino's
hear me,
coming
guys.
to the rescue here, so hold on a second there, James. Modern technology, how good is it?
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes.
Yeah, Sam can hear me. Chat, can you guys hear me? StreamYard was acting up a little bit here.
Uno momento. Come on, 20. Might as well stick around here, hon.
I'm sorry. So what happened?
I can't hear him, hon.
He says he can't hear me.
The volume's all the way up. Did you
okay.
press something?
No, I did not go.
Hang out with us, chat.
Yeah, let me leave and come right back.
Sounds good. Yeah, chat can hear everybody, but Steve's setup, well, we've all been having a little bit of trouble with Kickstarter here, or not Kickstarter. Kickstarter presents its own challenges. We've been having a little trouble with StreamYard here today, so it was being a little buggy. And Steve, if you can hear me now, I see you backstage there. Give me a thumbs up there and I'll bring you back on. Okay, perfect. Looks like we got him back. All right, we got you back. All right, while it's still working, I'm gonna bring Sam back in too. All right, Sam, there we go. Oh, some Batman. Nice. You got us, Sam. Can you hear
some
me
Batman
now?
goodness.
Oh, there we go.
Yes. Yeah, so this is one of my favorite things that I'll turn this light on so it's a little brighter in here. One of the favorite deep cuts, Steve did a pinup in this book. And it's one of those, like I said, it's a deeper cut, and God knows how long it's been since you've seen it, Steve, but here it is.
Yeah, seems like yesterday. I have great recall with everything in the past that I've done.
Wow, that's an amazing
It's a beautiful
piece.
drawing. It's one of my favorites. One of the things that I noticed looking at this over time is this crane here, like these dudes hanging from the bottom of the crane. I'd never noticed that before, and it's just like those, just sitting here and just being able to to stare at your work and be able to see small details like that. I will always love.
Yeah, that's a brilliant piece. Beautiful Batman pinup. I think everybody associates
Let's go down
with Steve's DC work. A lot of us think of the Superman stuff, but the Batman pieces he's done have been phenomenal.
Sure. So Steve, you didn't work in this book in particular, I do have the Johnny Quest issue that we're going to take a look at here in a second. But I wanted to pull this out because I know that Doug Wildey was a big influence on you. I love Doug Wildey as well, and I hold him in a very high regard. I think that nobody draws weapons as well as Doug Wildey does. I think his guns are bar none. Like nobody else draws guns as good as Doug Wildey does. His illustration skills are impeccable.
You able to
Did
hear
you have
Sam?
any like it?
Steve, just making sure you can hear. Are
Yeah, I
you able to
can. I
hear?
can hear you fine. Yeah.
You got Sam too. Are you able to hear him?
Okay,
Yes. I
Okay,
normally don't
cool.
comment until I get a question, though.
Okay, no worries. He's kind of cutting out. Sam, you're kind of cutting out a little bit. He was talking about Doug Wildey drawing weapons.
Sure, I heard him.
Okay, cool.
but a lot of people may not know this, but you actually own Doug Wildey's old animation desk. Kind of, how did that come about?
That was, I'm so glad I took him up on that because this thing was massive, this desk. The word is it was an old Disney desk that Doug inherited, but I don't know if if it was from his original HB days or it was something that he just somehow earned over the time of freelancing it was in his bedroom, the animation desk. And he just called me up one day because he knew that I was dead set on my next project. And that was, back in 91, I think. And he just called me out of the blue one day and says, do you have a truck? I said, no, but I can find one. He says, come on over and I'll give you the desk. I said, okay. So I found the truck, went over there and we had to open up the bedroom window because it wouldn't fit through the door.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so we took care of that, and it's been with me ever since.
That's amazing. Did it have one of the animators circles on it too?
Yeah, well, it did, and it's not one of those glass ones like a lot of people have. It's a genuine glass
Oh wow.
disc, and it's whatever it didn't have, I added on to the desk itself, so it would accommodate a little more things than what Doug had on it originally. So I kind of modified it for myself and custom fit it for my needs.
That's awesome. What do you got here, Sam? Is that the Johnny Quest?
Yeah, so this is Johnny Quest 1. And that Johnny Quest Classics that I showed off previously, that was something that Kamiko put out, and they were basically like retellings of popular Johnny Quest episodes, essentially. These, I believe, were original stories, and this was one that Steve had done, which looks like Matt Wagner had colored, so that's kind of wild.
Yeah, that's beautiful stuff.
Yep. Yeah, Matt Wagner is great, just a great artist and colorist and whatnot in general, but definitely gives I think, Steve, it gives your illustration a very like soft look, and I think it works well for what the comic is.
Yeah, it does go with it really well. I could just sit here and stare at that stuff all day.
How I guess like the business dealings around this had happened? Like, did you have like a strict deadline since it was like a licensed comic, or was it kind of more of a looser deadline?
No, everything was deadline dependent back then, unlike today.
That splash page, Sam. Go back to that splash. That was beautiful. Look at that. Can you move it down a little bit, Sam? So I can see that. Oh, yeah, there you go.
It's not Steve. I'm not too sure who did this.
Interesting.
Austin Taylor, it says.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know who that is. Interesting.
Beautiful stuff. All right. Well, let's get into this.
You dug deep in your collection today. Oh, there we go. You got the Space Ghost.
I own a long box of nothing but Rude Dude comics. So
there you go.
Stupid amounts of them. But
Before you
yeah, I
get going
think
on that
this is
one,
probably
Sam,
go
before you get going on that one,
ahead.
we got a question for Steve in the chat here, real quick. My buddy Yevgeny Sokolov, he wants to know, Steve, in your opinion, in today's comic industry, does the penciler need to be the inker as well? So, in other words, do you need to ink your own work?
Well, in my case, I realized that the need for an inker dissolved itself when I started to become uh, a writer, artist, letter, and all that stuff. And I dissolved the need for the production cycle of needing an inker, which was important to have back then in the 80s and 90s, but it no longer needs to be uh, set up the way it is. And once I realized that, I was more than happy to take over it, but the inking of my own work, just the way the people I was admiring and admire to this minute as I do my new Nexus work, the way that classic artists from the comic strip era did, and I'm talking specifically about Hal Foster and Alex Raymond.
Yeah, and I know when we talked recently, you were saying that you had kind of changed your penciling style. You were going even way looser because that's what you were feeling inspired to do, and you were doing a lot more of the drawing in the inking portion as opposed to penciling tight and then inking.
Yeah, that was a weird thing that I wasn't expecting to happen, but you know, the way artists conduct themselves, I think for the most part, is they listen to internal cues, and whereas it was something that I strove for whatever reason back when, to pencil very tightly. My inner self rejected that idea for reasons unknown to me, and I started to do things. I started to behave according to my conscience, and what that's done is made the work a lot more faulty. I've had to go in with a lot more whiteout, and yet to ignore the internal signals that I've gotten about how to pencil my work these days and how to ink it. They're taking on it something of their own will, and it's left me a little confused about it.
Yeah. All right, Sam, let's get into the Space Ghost, the Sinister Spectre.
Yeah, so I think still to this day, this is probably the most beautiful comic I've ever seen. I think that the drawing in it, again, impeccable. The coloring in it's impeccable. Writing in it's fantastic. When people say they think about Space Ghost, like to me, this is the definitive version of Space Ghost. It looks better than the cartoon. It the writing is better than the cartoon. It's Space Ghost elevated on another scale. Um, do you because I know that Ken Stacy had colored this. How were you guys going about like getting pages back and forth to each other for him to because I would assume that he painted over top of the original work.
He did, and that's why the originals look so stunning. It was the usual process of me penciling, Wally Bleiberg inking, and then they went off to Stacy, and he really was the saving grace that elevated this book into what it was.
Yeah, it's absolutely stunning work.
Yeah, it's incredible. Do you still have some of these pages for sale up on your website? 'Cause I know you
I
did
have
have
some
some of
of
those
them,
pages
yeah,
recently, like last year.
and Ken used, I think he used dyes to do that. I don't think he used anything permanent, and yet they haven't faded one bit because they've never been exposed to the sun.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the colors are so vibrant.
The originals are even more stunning, as
Oh, wow.
as you might suspect. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're simply incredible works of art due to Ken.
Was he using like the Doc Martens dyes or something like that back then?
He must have, yeah, because he wasn't
Yeah.
using watercolors. But you should get Ken on someday and ask him.
Yeah, for sure. Tristan, we
Love
don't
to.
have the ability to super chat. The channel has not grown helped as much as it needs to have super chat abilities. If you're enjoying and you want to help us out, the best you can do is share and subscribe and like and all that good stuff, so more people get on the channel, and then we will have the super chat feature. Oh, this is my jam here when you get into this Nexus stuff. Beautiful.
The old classic.
Yeah. This is what I envision when I think of Steve Rude. This is the work I envision right here.
Those were good. Those were good days back in the Capitol days when everything was so new and brand new and exciting and untested, and we were coming out of nowhere, in the Midwest of all places. And me and Barron were just starting to get going, and we were both very driven to show everyone what we were capable of doing, and it grew exponentially from issue to issue.
Nexus had originally started out as a black and white comic. What was the transition to turning Nexus into a colored comic for you? How was that like?
Well, it's no problem for me. It was a matter of finance for the publishers, Milton John.
Gotcha.
I gave you the full screen.
So that's
Sam.
really what it comes down to. It was purely just a cost cutting measure, and you wished that Nexus originally was like you hope. If I could speak English here, you wanted Nexus to be colored originally, not black and white.
No, I didn't care one bit because I took
Gotcha.
things as they were presented to me. I think it was fine. I think it was a way of testing things out by not investing too much in the full process. And I think the black and white books were the way to go when they were first introduced.
Yeah, as somebody who's into art, I always tend to love black and white, or even seeing the pencils, all of that is kind of like I love seeing the more process oriented version of the art, the original. But color's cool too. It can enhance.
I always love the your technology designs. Definitely very Kirby influenced, and I would even say probably Toth influenced a little bit with the Space Ghost, but very 60s sci-fi. I know that you're a big fan of Magnus, and you had done that Magnus Nexus crossed over as well. Definitely can see that in your work, that 60s sci-fi inspiration.
Yeah, when I came back to Nexus and was doing the writing and the illustration, there was a scene that I stuck in that kind of was meant to be funny, and this was a scene where Ilum had been destroyed, and this reporter from Earth came along and said, it's probably a good thing that this Ilum is being torn apart because these designs are way out of fashion.
Oh, here's some.
So now I got a larger
stuff.
magazine-sized issue. Yeah, this is issue number 3. And the reasoning why I wanted to pull this out is because this thing comes with one of the flexi discs.
Oh, there you go.
Which was a pretty cool thing that they used to do, back in the day. And I think that I had asked you about this on one of the streams before, Steve, but I think you had said that Capital Comics owned a record label, and this was the reasoning why this was made in the first place.
They didn't own a record label. They looked into the cost format of putting a flexible disc inserted into the comic, which is not the first time that was done. There was a lot of comics that contained those things,
Sure.
Probably from Mad Magazine and maybe other similar category magazines. And then it was just a matter of finding out the cost and then going into a studio, hiring actors, and having them read the script. And then sound effects and music came in, and voila.
Beautiful stuff.
Yeah,
Absolutely
very
beautiful.
beautiful.
How many? Do you know how many issues were printed in this like oversized style?
I don't. I just know that throughout the time Barrett and I had been doing Nexus, um, we're lucky we didn't have to have part-time jobs to sustain ourselves. We always had, he had a job doing this and I had a job doing that. Nexus did sustain us eventually, but the feedback I got about sales that they were always marginal.
Gotcha. And this is another one that just kind of has a deep cut in it, just a little pinup.
Oh, there you go. The moth.
The moth. Yeah, it's good stuff. Moth's one of Steve's independent characters. I'm a big fan of it as well.
Definitely.
And then let's take a look at some of this and have Steve kind of talk about some of the new stuff that he has has put out recently.
Oh, there you go. The figure drawing book. That's from the Kickstarter, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all crowdfunded these days, like a lot of people are.
Incredible stuff. If you guys,
Uh-oh, Sam. Hold on. Your camera just went out, Sam.
yeah,
Oh, there you go. You're
I lost
back.
you guys.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Your
What
camera
happened?
keeps popping in and out. I'm going to throw you backstage real quick.
Yeah, give me a moment.
Yep. All right, Steve. Just you and I again.
Yeah, sure. It's great, James.
Technology, it sometimes it can be unkind to us. We're doing our best though. We're just happy to have you here with us tonight, man.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. It looks like he keeps popping back and forth. Let's see in the chat here if we got any questions in the chat. Tristan loved the Nexus cover. Now you are painting all of those Nexus covers yourself, right?
Yeah, and that came about because I would have been unhappy having to be confined to a black and white pen and ink work
Yeah.
and brush work. I had aspirations from the very beginning to be an illustrator, and to be an illustrator, you had to know all mediums, and that was my way of starting from the very beginning to hopefully gain more skills that would enable me to paint things more realistically with paint. So that's why I
Yeah.
did those.
Beautiful. All right. Looks like Sam is back. We're going to give you the full screen again, Sam. Here we go. More of the figure drawing book from Kickstarter.
Yeah, and Steve has this available on his website. If you guys are watching this on my channel, his website link is in the description, so you'll be able to just head over there and pick one of these up.
I'll one up you. His website is scrolling across the bottom of the screen right now. They don't even have to go to your website, although I encourage them to go to your website so they can pick up your book, Sam.
There's only about 10 of those.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Janelle has mentioned that there's only 10 left if people want to still get those.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Everybody get over there quick. Tristan says,
Learn
oh,
low,
wow,
folks.
that's so cool. Yeah, I love the
Yes,
going over the different body types here, because everybody, artists a lot of times get caught up in drawing one type of figure, and they'll make your average person look as muscular as a superhero and not have that variation. So that's like very important to have that ability to draw different body types.
Yes, and this is one of the things that I love about Steve and his work is just his the dedication to just never stop and just continuously learn, regardless if you're a master or not, because as Steve's aware, you're always a student. So being able to learn directly from Steve and have this, because originally is what I was doing, Steve, is I was buying your sketchbook, your yearly sketchbooks, and I was using those as sources of inspiration and kind of like copying your techniques and drawings and whatnot out of those books. And now that I have something like this that one, it's spiral bound, so it's way easier for me to have at the drawing desk, which I greatly appreciate. But having it more, I guess, laid out in a way that I can use it in a way that it is used for reference material and being able to use his gestures. And I had told Janelle as well that putting the QR codes in here so that way you can get dragged straight to the video that this kind of come from or the lesson that you had taught was a great idea.
That's Janelle for you.
Yeah, that was brilliant. And I remember watching that video when it first dropped. That was so cool. Yeah, amazing stuff. Love these the motion you're capturing in these figures. It's I don't know that people underestimate how hard that is. How much work that is. A lot of practice goes into that. The cool thing about Steve, for everybody that watching, if you're familiar with Steve's work, you'll know every time he's on his channel drawing, he's like trying to level up and pushing himself and learning new things all the time. It's just like Sam was saying, it even if you're a master like Steve, you got to be putting in that work all the time, because you'd agree it's a degrading skill set, right, Steve? You gotta maintain and then try to improve.
Well, that's the ideal. I wonder about the process that I've gone through for all these decades now. It's funny to think about it in decades, but you start off with all these, I call them holes in your knowledge, and you try to fill those holes by working hard. I love to work hard. I still do. To me, that's part of the fun, and it helps to be compulsive. Compulsive people are always striving to rid themselves of flaws and work beyond mannerisms that might become kind of tired. And yet at the same time, I don't know why I don't know more than I do. And I always seem to have to go back to a place I thought I was kind of set free from by now, but it's not true. And this is something I've talked about with other artists, a lot of fine artists and stuff. We wonder why it's still so hard, but it's hard in different ways. And it's hard to put that into words because I'm not someone that's very good with words. I'm better with pictures, but there are still incredible amounts of having to strive to at least not get worse in my life these days.
Yeah. Well, there's that old expression that you know enough to know how much you don't know still, right? Always striving to be better.
Yeah. But it's just I'm just lucky that I'm compulsive about it and that I love to learn in the way that I have my whole life. Thinking of if I go back to high school, the sense of drive that I had was identical to what I have today.
Now, this is the how to draw the Nexus animated, right, Sam?
Yes, that is correct. And again, one of the things that I love about this book in general is being able to get figures in a bunch of different angles and being able to use that for reference material.
Yeah.
And then as well, just being able to see things like this. It's like having a head turn in a bunch of different directions. It's like, what other drawing books have you seen that has stuff like this?
Yeah.
Zero.
Well,
So this is the one.
Steve, your intention partially behind this was also, this is kind of like your Bible that you could hand somebody if you were, looking for somebody to help work on the Nexus animated series. Because as we talked about, you still got your feelers out there to try to find a team to help you with it, right?
Yeah, and that's only come about recently, and like I'd say in the last month. Because my intention was to wait for somebody to come to me, as in a studio, or some rich entrepreneur that could set me up the way I wanted to, and thereby get my show done by hiring certain personnel, hopefully people that already had the equipment in place. But that has not happened in all this time. So, based on a recommendation from Janelle and one of her friends, she just said, Well, I can't work under the corporate strictures. I need to be entirely free from that, and I need to be calling every shot from the beginning because I've known exactly what I want, and I think I would have good leadership skills. Um, so the idea now was to first. There's actually an order to which I need to be. I want to have this happen. The first thing is to get a singular person who is incredibly good at animation and well versed in the process that needs to happen to make the process of finishing a cartoon fluid
Right.
and efficient. And that's the person I'm looking for now. And I obviously haven't found them yet. but by finding that one person first, that will lead to other people being hired when the time is right. When we need to bring in the other people that need to be part of the process of finishing a cartoon.
Yeah. What's the experience level you're looking for? Would you consider somebody who's a little newer to the industry, or are you wanting people who are more veterans and really deeply understand the craft?
Well, that's a tough question, but a good one. My thinking is that I will take somebody young who is as good as a veteran,
Right.
and they have to know the software because I'm not very big on that kind of stuff, and I probably never will be. So they
Yeah.
need to be step in and take that part of it off my hands.
And Sam, these facial expression guides are amazing.
Yeah, they are. And one of the things that Steve has in spades is drawing women. And one of the other things that he also has in spades is drawing kids and the little girls. And as everybody knows, it's an illustrator, cartoonist, what have you. Drawing kids is a pain in the ass. And then when you add it being a little girl on top of that, it just maximizes it. So my question to you, Steve, is like what are you looking at and what are you doing to help like refine your illustration skills on kids?
Well, first of all, there's no excuse for not drawing anything good. That's the job of an artist. Uh, uh, there
True.
are there are certain people that in say comic books that uh, probably need to take the subject of drawing kids a little more seriously. Um, I don't allow flaws in my work because they may be hard to draw. The harder it is to draw, the more you have to work at it. And whenever I see people drawing things like bad kids, especially in comics, I can't abide by that. You have to learn to draw things properly if you're a realist. So that's my thinking about that.
Yeah, I notice a lot of artists, comic artists, kids look like just shrunken adults. They don't change the markers on the face of where the features lie. All those, because there's a lot of differences. There's similarities, but there's a lot of differences in the proportions and where the eyes set on the face and all these different things. I think it's just from a lack of study and practice, really.
Listen, really, drawing kids is no different than having to draw horses
Right.
um, or animals of any kind. Every time I have to draw anything involving animals, I have to get out the references and the how to draw books for animals, and it's that way every single time I have to draw them.
Steve, are you still looking? You still have reference books, don't you? I have a feeling you have a vast library of reference books nearby at all times.
Yeah, I do. I have pretty much everything I need to, and whatever I don't need. Um, when this whole phenomenon of the internet came about, uh, I take advantage of that, like anyone with half a sense would.
Yeah. Oh, that's a cool character. The Merc.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like something like Mike Allred would draw almost in a way. If that makes sense. Kind of look like something out of Madman, kind of.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I love how these books are spiral bound. Makes it so much easier to flip through
Yes.
and to like set it down if you are wanting to practice drawing from it. You can just flip it over and not worry about creasing it up or anything.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like I keep I have, I don't know, 5 or 6 of Steve's sketchbooks at my drawing desk, and then I keep this, and then the other book that we're just looking at previous to this, I keep them by my drawing desk at all times because they are great resources to have. And like I
Definitely.
was saying earlier, if you guys don't have one of Steve's sketchbooks, you know, go to his website and just pick up any of the random ones. It really doesn't matter which ones they are. They're all great. And when you look at that and you see that the stuff that, you know, Steve is studying and that he's doing, and you're not chasing to be that great. I don't know why you're in comics or drawing to begin with, but you should strive to be that good. And that's, again, one of the reasons why I look at Steve's work. And obviously, if you guys have seen my comics, I'm more of an underground cartoonist, kind of like the R. Crumb vibe, and the subject matter and my style is vastly different than Steve's. But you have to learn how to look at different sources of inspiration and what they're looking at, and pick up certain things from different people. Doesn't necessarily mean, hey, Steve's my all-time favorite artist. Doesn't mean I have to draw like him or I'm going to draw like him. That's not the point. It's picking up all these different lessons that he teaches and putting those into my own application on the page.
Definitely. Steve, do you you offer some do you have Patreon, right? Do you have a Patreon now? Do you still have the ability for people to go on and get their work critiqued by you and get some pointers?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, everybody should take advantage of that because that's a rare opportunity. Somebody that's been in the field as long as you have. That's really cool. Oh, we got an X-Men book.
Yeah, it's Joe Casey and Steve. And I was asking Janelle about this a little while back, and I think she was telling me that you didn't have the greatest experience with working on this book, and I believe it was because of like tight deadlines, and they kind of just tossed this at you at the last minute. Did you have any insights on that at all?
Well, I sure do. They set a deadline before I even started, and the what they didn't understand was the research that went into a book involving FBI agents and the other things that had to be conceived to make the book good. Um, it doesn't happen in an hour. It takes. I actually visited. Part of the research I did for this book was to fly into uh, where was it, Washington D.C., where the FBI building is, and I took a tour and got to chat up some of the people that work there to answer my questions, which is something that all is part of the illustrator's creed. That when you're researching things, you go as far as you need to make things realistic and accurate. So that's part of what I did. And Marvel just thought you could just toss this stuff off, and they ended up. I ended up doing 3 of the issues, and they ended up finding other artists for the next 3.
Were you I see somebody else inked you on this. Were you preferring to ink your own work back then, or did somebody else ink this in part due to the deadline that you were talking about?
Who did ink that work? I'm actually forgetting.
Andrew Pipoy? A little glare on there, Sam.
I think he was the
Yeah,
colorist.
it's what it is. Andrew Papoy.
He's the inker.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Paul Paul Mounts was the colorist.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that's the age when it was prudent to have inkers be part of the process to expedite things.
Yeah. How tight
Was
were you
this
penciling
done
back
like
then?
traditionally?
Sorry.
Go ahead, Sam.
Go ahead.
We both asked a question at the same time.
I had asked, was this all done traditionally? Because this would have been like right around the time that you had 99. I mean, digital was all at the forefront then.
Like the colors?
I don't
Yeah,
recall,
colors
but
and the inks, was that all done digitally?
I think the colors were the beginning of the digital style. They had developed enough so they could it would look better than the traditional hand colored with dyes
Yeah.
affairs.
Yeah,
Um,
nobody was inking digitally back then in the late 90s though. That was just the kind of the dawn of the digital coloring though was becoming more mainstream back then.
but yeah, very handsome book.
All right,
Yeah, very.
it is.
A lot of research.
And then I figured that we could wrap it up here with one of my favorite comics, and I think personally this is probably my favorite Jack Kirby stuff. 2001.
Oh, there you go. Look at you, Sam, a man of culture. You
We
got some
got,
Kirby stuff in your collection.
of
Respect,
course I do.
respect to you. I didn't know. I wasn't sure how much of it you owned. Yeah, that double pager is crazy.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think 2001, like this run of Kirby comics, I think is some of the most beautiful stuff he ever did in his entire career. This issue itself is it's unfortunate the colors have kind of faded over time. But they did print this in treasury size, and if you can find this in treasury, man, it's like one of the most beautiful things you'll ever see.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Um,
Do you own
but I was
do you own a lot of Kirby stuff, Steve? I know
I
you have some original stuff, right? But
yeah.
comic wise, do you have quite a bit?
Well, I grew up in the guy, so I would like to think I do.
I figured you did.
Yeah, I've been spending the last like month or so pretty much doing nothing but practicing Kirby dots because I run like a community anthology, and the theme for the next anthology I think is we're gonna do like a Kirby homage. So basically anything that you know want to do Kirby related stuff, I'm gonna do something that's like Galactus, Fantastic Four style. So I've
Nice.
been practicing a lot of Kirby dots, and you had mentioned on one of your streams, Steve, for Kirby dots, and once you had said it, it kind of opened up my perspective on how to actually draw them properly because so many people try to do the Kirby dots, Kirby Crackle, whatever you want to call it, and it just doesn't look right. You're one of the few people that do it correctly, and you had said the secret to Kirby dots, it's not the dots themselves, but it's the negative space around them is how it gets the proper look. And once you had said that, it kind of like unlocked something in my brain, and been able to make them properly ever since.
Yeah, it's much more about first of all, it's a pattern, and rather than it being a positive pattern, a negative white space pattern is actually more to the heart of why it works so well. But most people don't understand it, and they just put the dots randomly everywhere, and it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I see a lot of people do them the opposite way of what you're saying, and it definitely doesn't look right. Kirby did water really well too. It's funny, like he kind of did everything great in his own way. Just I feel like every time I look at some of his work, I notice something new about it that stands out.
He
He's
is the
still
king for a
taking us
reason,
to
sir.
he's still taking us to school after all these years, isn't he? Sam, was that all you got for us,
I
man? I feel like we made
yeah,
it
that's
through quite a bit of stuff.
yeah, that's everything I pulled for today. So I think we're good to call it
You
here and let Steve wrap up the night here.
Sounds good. I'll put you backstage. Anything else you wanna say to Steve before I put you backstage, Sam, and then I'll send him off.
No, I just greatly appreciate you coming on, and then like I said, I also, as always, greatly appreciate the opportunity to work with you guys, and I cannot say enough good things about Janelle and Jessica and everybody else that's kind of been pitching in and helping. Um, And again, it's a testament. You know, I've only been making comics for a year, and I put out 5 comics this year, and that a lot of that drive and ambition and aspiration all comes from Steve and seeing the stuff that he's done over the years. Dude's been making comics for longer than I've been alive, and
Yeah.
to me, putting that into perspective, it's like I need to put my foot on the gas and catch up because Steve's still making comics, and if I'm still making comics at your age, Steve, then great, I'm happy, and I hope
Definitely.
that I am making comics at your age, and that's my goal.
It sounds like you're well on your way.
Keep that foot on the gas, Sam. I'm going to put you
Certainly trying.
backstage, buddy.
Yes,
All right, bro.
thank you.
Steve, man, it's been great to get to share a little bit more time with you. I always learn so much listening to you talk. Greatly appreciate what you do. I'm going to put your website as we close out. I want to make sure, encourage everybody. You see these websites scrolling across the bottom there. Keep track of everything Steve has in the works. We always got some kind of Kickstarter in the works, don't you, Steve? There's going to be something popping up here or something getting ready to launch.
Well, given that I don't allow my income isn't dependent on comic book companies calling me up anymore, it's an entirely self-generated thing.
Yeah. I got Sam back on the screen with us. So I put Steve's website on there. I want to make sure everybody goes and follows him on Instagram as well. And you always have awesome live streams over on your YouTube channel. So everyone make sure you go subscribe to Steve's YouTube channel as well. Show him the love. This guy is still out here doing it after all these years. And we couldn't be more appreciative of you coming on tonight, sir. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Awesome. Sam, you got the man here. The dude was with us. I feel honored.
He was amazing. No, truly, like it. I try to explain this to people all the time, and it's like I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, Steve. Excuse my French here, but like you are a living legend in comic books. You are one of the few people that are still around that won a Kirby Award, and it's like that's amazing. And again, I greatly appreciate the opportunity for everything that you guys have done for me. And like I was saying earlier, I've only been making comics for a year. I put out 5 comics this year so far, and you guys have always been super encouraging to me. And I can never thank you enough, and I can never say enough good things about the Rude family.
Yes.
Well, it sounds like you already have.
And we got to thank Miss Janelle for facilitating, helping us with the technological aspects of this, and continuing to support our guy Steve and helping be the driving force that helps keep things going and running smoothly. We greatly appreciate her. Steve, I know it's late there. I'm gonna let you go, brother. You have a good one. All right. Hope to see you again soon.
You're welcome.
All right, my friend. Take care.
I will. You guys
Thanks,
too.
Steve.
See you later.
There we go. That was awesome, Sam. Got spoiled by all the Steve goodness that you have in your collection. I got to be honest, I don't have as much as you. I've got more of the Kirby stuff than you. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that maybe, but Steve stuff you got me beat. I feel like my holiday money is gonna be spent picking up some of those Nexus books because looking at those, I was a little jealous.
I have, like I said, I have an entire long box of nothing but Steve
Nice.
Rude comics.
Is that Nexus stuff fairly cost friendly still? Can you pick some of that? Because I feel like we have a great appreciation because we're art junkies. We love the searching for artist stuff. Like can people pick that stuff up and find it like in digging in a long box somewhere in a shop and pull some of that stuff out?
Yeah, so Nexus has been around obviously for a very long time. So there's a bunch of different runs of Nexus, different versions of it, different publications. So at one point in time, like First Comics published Nexus, Capital Comics published Nexus, Dark Horse published Nexus.
Yeah.
So depending on the version that you want, I
You
would
can
say
speak it
that
out.
yeah, I would say that the Capital Comics version, so that's the very first time that they went to color because first was the first publisher on Nexus, I believe. Those
Yeah.
were black and white, and then they moved to color eventually when they were at Capital. You can find those issues for like $3 a piece, and
Oh, sweet.
I think that the original run of Nexus, it's like 83 issues, and I
Yeah.
think I purchased like that entire run, and it was like $300 for like all 80 issues.
I've
Not
been
too
trying
bad.
to be saving on space because my collection's taking up so much room. So I do buy a lot of stuff digitally, but the way that looked in the print, I feel like I need to own the physical versions of them,
Yeah, it's amazing, and like I said, I know that Dark Horse did reprints for them in like the late 90s, early 2000s. It's called the Nexus Archive selections,
Okay.
and those are hardcover books, and those are fairly expensive, but I think those are
Yeah.
like the definitive versions of Nexus because they haven't really been printed in hardcovers elsewhere, to my knowledge.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
if
Well,
saving space and hardcovers are kind of your thing and you don't want floppies laying around, that's definitely the way to go. But yeah, like I said, you can find them for like $3 a piece and then like later Nexus issues. So like things that Dark Horse had put out, and then as well, Steve had his own publication house for a little while. It was called Steve Rude Productions. And then
yeah.
he had one before that. I think it was called Rude Dude Productions. Those are his own imprints, and Nexus Comics did come out underneath that at one point in time. They're called like the newspaper strips, and I think there were 5
Okay.
issues of those, and those were formatted like they were newspaper strips, but they're a Nexus comic, so they're kind of weird oddities. You can find those in dollar bins literally everywhere.
I think I'm gonna be
So
knowing what I'm gonna be hunting for at the next shop I'm at or the next con I go to for sure, man. Dude, this was so much fun. Like, we had a legend in the building tonight. That was surreal. Like, I don't know, like, for the viewers, if you're watching, that is akin to like having a Jack Kirby or Stan Lee in here. That's not an understatement. Like his
yeah,
regard, like how highly regarded he is. Like you hear people like Alex Ross talk about Steve Rude and like you name it. Like your favorite pro that you think of in that regard, like they think of Steve in that regard. He's a true living legend. And I think the coolest thing about Steve is his passion about creating comics, and he's still making new stuff to this very day.
dude just doesn't stop.
He doesn't.
Just
And it's
doesn't
like you
stop, and
said,
that's one of
if
the
he
reasons
if
why
he's
I love him.
if he's still going, what excuse do we have? We got to put that foot on the gas and keep making stuff, right?
Yeah, he just turned 70 this year, I believe, and he's
Yeah.
been making comics since like 83. So just to put that into perspective on how many lines on a page
Yeah.
that
It's
is.
crazy. Well, before we end the stream here, I'm going to throw your website back up on the screen. Everybody, go to Sam's website. You can still pre-order the White Line and Deadline book. It has a pinup by yours truly in it. I got a pin up in the back of it. My first published work since 1998. I greatly appreciate Sam for motivating me and giving me that opportunity and asking me if I'd like to do a pin up. So that's really cool. I got some more stuff in the works now since you've inspired me and Steve inspires me. I'm going to be doing some other stuff that's going to be coming out. So I'm excited about that. So we need to remind everybody there will be no Bristol Bros on the 23rd. So no Bristol Bros on Christmas Eve, the 23rd. And there will be no there will be Bristol Bros the following week. We will be back on the 30th. So New Year's Eve, Bristol Bros will be back. We'll be announcing soon who will be having on with us. And everybody, I hope you have a wonderful holiday. Enjoy it, hopefully with friends and family. If you're struggling during the holidays, you can always reach out, shout one of us out. We're always here to talk and support. We love everybody in our comics community. So make sure you reach out, touch base with us. just know you always got somebody here for you, and that things will always start to look up and improve. They always eventually do. Just got to stay the course. Sam, this has been awesome, man. You got anything else to leave us with?
No, I mean, somebody had asked in the chat when I plan on doing that anthology.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
probably run it towards the start of the year. Generally, I give everybody about 4 weeks or so to work on pages. Generally, I run the limits on them are 2 to 10 pages is typically what I do. And then if you are doing just single pages, that's for pinups and covers if they do get selected to be used as a front cover or back cover. If you follow me on YouTube, I always post the form that you can submit your work to on my channel, and then I'm pretty redundant with always telling people like, hey, deadline's in a week, so on and so forth. So I always keep everybody updated with what's going on. Always have a super fast turnaround time. I have my pages always drawn and done typically before I even have the project announced and out there. So that way my work is done on my end. So that way when you guys give me your work, I can just get the book out and done. And it's like within a week and a half, 2 weeks, like that thing's off to the printer already, if not sooner than that. So yeah, I mean, if otherwise you can go to my website. Down underneath there's the contact form. Go ahead and click on that and then reach out to me, and just let me know that you'd want to work with me on the anthologies in the future, and I can get you the form for it when that time does roll around. But probably here in like the next 3 weeks or so, I'll probably have a new form up and ready to go, and then deadline, same thing, would probably be about 4 weeks or so for everybody to get me pages. Plenty of time to get some comics made.
Sounds good. Tristan Werner says, great show, guys. Had a lot of fun. He was here from the beginning to the end. Much appreciated. Catch you on the next one on the 30th, Tristan. Sam, my man, I got to go eat some dinner. Got to fuel these guns, man. I'm getting peaked over here.
I feel you. It's almost 10:30, so it's
I know
gonna start wrapping up for the night.
Hey, you have a good one, buddy. I'm gonna end the stream. Everybody in the chat, like I said, happy holidays. Make sure you join us back on here December 30th. Peace out, everybody.
Bye.